The church overflows with black-clad mourners, their sorrow palpable. Tears stream down grief-stricken faces, reflecting the depth of their loss. A framed photo of Mark stands solemnly on an easel, a silent testament to a life remembered. Flowers encircle Mark's photo, their beauty a poignant contrast to the heavy grief. The air hangs heavy with unspoken grief, each breath a reminder of absence. Silence descends, broken only by the occasional sob, as the weight of mourning settles over the congregation. The heavy church doors creak open, slicing through the profound silence. Every head in the church snaps toward the sound, a unified wave of curiosity and anticipation rippling through the congregation. Mark stands in the doorway, a figure reborn from the shadows, his disheveled appearance a stark contrast to the sacred space. A collective gasp sweeps through the church, a symphony of disbelief and relief. Shock gives way to relief, faces etched with a mixture of emotions as the congregation processes the impossible. The congregation stares in stunned silence, a tableau of bewilderment and gratitude. The highway at night transforms into a horrifying spectacle as a car erupts in flames. Flames engulf the wreckage, casting an eerie orange glow across the night. Silhouetted against the inferno, emergency responders battle the blaze with desperate urgency. Chaos reigns as the air crackles with heat, and the acrid stench of burning metal fills the night. In the sterile confines of a hospital room, a figure lies motionless, swathed in bandages, lost in the silent abyss of unconsciousness. The rhythmic beeping of medical equipment fills the void, a stark reminder of the fragile thread of life. A nurse hovers nearby, a silent guardian, meticulously checking the vital signs of the nameless patient. The chart reveals a chilling alias, John Doe, a symbol of lost identity and uncertain fate. The room is filled with an eerie stillness, broken only by the monotonous beep of the machines, as the mystery deepens around the bandaged figure. The nurse continues her vigil, unaware of the secrets hidden beneath the bandages, in a room where life and mystery intertwine. Mark awakens in the stark hospital room, his mind adrift in confusion. His disoriented gaze sweeps across the unfamiliar surroundings, a desperate attempt to anchor himself. Fragmented memories flicker like shadows, eluding his grasp. The chilling realization dawns. He struggles to even remember who he is. Weeks later, Mark sits up in his hospital bed, a flicker of alertness in his eyes. The TV blares, "Local man presumed dead in fiery car crash." A photo of Mark flashes on the screen. Mark stares in disbelief at the broadcast. Reality distorts as Mark grapples with the impossible truth on the screen. Mark, pale and fragile, finds himself swallowed by the dim ambiance of an internet cafe, his posture reflecting both physical weakness and deep unease. His trembling fingers dance across the keyboard as he types his name, each keystroke echoing his inner turmoil. The hum of machines and the distant chatter fade into a muted backdrop as Mark's gaze locks onto the screen, a single obituary casting a long shadow over his hope. Mark, last name, beloved husband and friend. The words hit him with the force of a physical blow, shattering the illusion of his return. Inside the solemn church, Mark stands silently, observing the funeral proceedings. Mourners weep, their grief echoing through the sacred space as they offer comfort to the bereaved. His eyes scan the congregation, seeking a familiar face amid the sea of sorrow. The air is thick with unspoken emotions as Mark continues his silent vigil. In the hallowed silence of the church, David stands at the pulpit, sunlight painting the scene with vibrant hues. His voice thick with emotion, David begins to speak, the echoes of his words filling the sacred space. Amidst the mourners, Mark stands, his face etched with a complex blend of sorrow and rapt attention. David's voice cracks as he reminisces. "Mark, where do I even begin? We shared a lifetime of laughter, tears, and unforgettable moments. I remember." In the solemn atmosphere of the church, Sarah sits veiled in the front row, her body trembling with grief. Silent sobs rack Sarah as she clutches a tissue, her sorrow a palpable presence in the sacred space. Sarah's unseen tears flow freely as she clutches a tissue, her heart heavy with unspoken sorrow. Clutching a tissue, Sarah sobs quietly, her grief echoing softly in the hallowed church. Beside her sits a man, unknown and unfamiliar, their hands clasped tightly in shared support. In a moment of shared sorrow, Sarah finds solace in the touch of a hand, a silent promise of support in her darkest hour. In the solemn church, the pastor's words fill the air as a heavy mood settles. Mark sits in the front row, his head bowed, trying to contain his emotions as the eulogy begins. Let us honor the memory of Mark. Unable to bear it any longer, Mark rises, his footsteps echoing through the silent church. Mark moves down the aisle, a solitary figure amidst hushed whispers. A wave of gasps sweeps through the mourners, disbelief etched on every face. All eyes fixate on Mark, a storm of shock and disbelief swirling in the air. The tension in the church is palpable, a heavy silence amplifying the unspoken. In the solemn ambiance of the church, Sarah slowly raises her head, the gentle fall of her veil marking a dramatic reveal. Her eyes lock onto Mark, who stands before her, but instead of relief, a chilling terror grips her face. The sacred space seems to amplify her dread as Mark's presence becomes a harbinger of fear. The church, once a sanctuary, now echoes with Sarah's silent scream of terror. Inside the church, Tom sits beside Sarah, their intertwined hands a silent testament to shared shock and fear. Tom's face reflects the same terror gripping Sarah, mirroring her inner turmoil. Their linked hands are the only visible anchor in a sea of rising panic and dread. The church fades into background as Tom and Sarah find a connection in their shared despair. The dim light of the church casts long shadows, emphasizing the gravity of the moment. Inside the church, Mark's gaze pierces through Sarah and Tom, a chilling dawn of realization spreading across his face. The stark revelation hits him. Their tears were not of sorrow, but a twisted celebration of his absence. A wave of understanding washes over Mark as he watches Sarah and Tom. The weight of betrayal crashes over Mark, shattering the sacred silence of the church. The church, once a sanctuary, now echoes with the deafening silence of Mark's broken trust. Mark's face contorts, a mask of anguish replacing any trace of affection he once held for Sarah and Tom. Inside the solemn church, Mark's gaze is fixed on the closed coffin, his expression a mask of intense contemplation. A chilling question begins to surface within him, doubt etching itself onto his features. The weight of suspicion and a desperate need for answers cloud Mark's face. Mark's voice breaks the silence, a chilling question hanging in the air. Who is really in that coffin?